Great morning, great morning, great morning, great morning. It's time to take what a Mary will. Hey, great morning, great people. It is Sierra J. Exantis, and I teach women how to date well so they can marry well. So, if you have not already subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button before we go ahead and get into. Hit the like button, hit the share button, because listen, we got a topic to discuss today. And I think this is something that a lot of women find themselves asking themselves often. A lot of women who want to go to the next level, a lot of women who are, sitting there scratching their head, trying to figure out, why is it that I am not experiencing this love thing, the fullness of it, and I'm only getting stuck at one level in all of my relationships. Pretty much, if you've ever asked yourself, why have my relationships never, ever elevated beyond the bedroom, then this is a video that you want to stick around for. All right, so I want to go ahead and say, first of all, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you haven't liked the video, like it and share it out, because women need to understand this, and women need to start to rethink the way that we go about relationships, especially if you look around the relationship culture and the way that it is. Not as many women who want to be married are getting married. Not as many women who want to have that solid foundation are even learning how to access, that foundation, or how to implement that foundation. So if healthy relationships, building one or sustaining one is something that you're interested in, definitely stick around. So we'll go ahead and get into why my relationships never elevate beyond the bedroom. The first reason is this, of course. You lead with sex. Okay. And that is pretty much our culture. We're bombarded with sex, images of sex, people always talking about it, thinking about it, wanting it, and that is just like an in-your-face thing these days. Sex, 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 sex. And I always say, if you lead with sex, then you're pretty much left with sex. Okay? If you lead with sex, you're left with sex. And relationships do not elevate beyond the bedroom because there are other levels and things that are missed when sex is one of the first things that's the priority on the table once you start to get to know somebody. And yes, of course, we're humans. We like sex. We want sex. This is not, new knowledge to anyone. But there comes a time where we have to exercise wisdom and self-control and say, even though in this stage of my relationship, this is something that I might want and he might want, is it the wisest thing to do at this point in time before we have covered and gotten to know some other areas about each other? So leading with sex is just not smart, especially when you can lead with your integrity. You can lead with your character, your humility, your sensitivity, your sensuality as a woman, your morals, your values, virtue, all of those, so many other things that we can lead with. But most people these days in relationships, sex is usually one of the first things that's on the table. And when sex is one of the first things that a man is exposed to about you, he loses interest in all of the other things. And you're like, but I have so much more to offer. There's so much more to me than sex. Why is this the one thing that is keeping me from getting to the next level? Well, pretty much, if you give a man candy, or just like if you give children candy, they're not going to want to eat nothing else after that. Unless they're my kids, of course, because they're going to eat their food. They're going to eat dinner. But, when you give a person something, when you satisfy a sweet tooth without giving any substance, usually there is no appetite for that substance after the sweet tooth has already been satisfied. And that is what they want. So it's almost like there's a blinder there. Like, no, this is what I want. That's all. That's it. And you're like, no, but see me in other areas. See this and see that. You didn't lead with those areas. So when you don't lead with that, there comes unless that man has already established some level of respect for who you are as a woman, sex is pretty much how he's going to see you, as an object of sex. That leads me to the second point. A man can't see your value beyond sex. And it doesn't mean you don't have value beyond sex. It just means that at this point, once you've already started off as that is your foundation, he doesn't see your value beyond that, and he puts you in the busted baby category. And a lot of women are in the busted baby category and they don't even know it, because men have a way of finessing and stringing you along to get what they want when you're thinking that it's going to progress into something more, and they have you thinking that, but all along it's like you're just serving one purpose. And eventually one day you're going to wake up and say, 2, 3, 4 years later, we have not elevated beyond this point. Why are we here? What am I doing? And you might wake up and say, you know, it's time for me to move on and do things a little different. But until then, that's pretty much what it is. You know, you have been put in the busted baby category. And that's not a good place to be, because usually you're not the only one in that category. You're usually sharing that category with tons of other people. But that's just the reality of it. That's why you don't lead with sex. And a lot of women say, well, you know, we're grown and this and that, because you hear a lot of men will tell you that, oh, why we can't do such and such and such. You grown, we grown. I say, you know what? We're grown, but are we growing? Because there's a difference between being grown and actually growing. And if you're growing and you see that your experiences where you led with sex in the past just begot more sex and that's it, then you know and understand and realize that, hey, maybe I need to do something a little different. You know, that's the growth aspect of it, because it has nothing to do with being grown. You know, just because you're grown doesn't mean that, you know, you can't grow and be mature enough to see the error of your ways and why and how things that you did in the past didn't elevate you beyond your current situation. So, yeah, watch for that line, because men will tell you that, oh, we grown, real quick to try to, you know, swindle you out of the goods way prematurely, because naturally they're men, you know what I mean? That's what they want. And married, single, otherwise, they're men and that's what they want. That's what they think about. So you have to be wise as a woman to control yourself, because and control the access to your womb, and know that just because that's what he wants it's not time for that. And if that man cannot understand that or respect that, then peacefully send him on his way. There's so many other men out there and you only need one to build a life with. So if that's just not on his agenda, then hey, you know, release him to go find what it is that he's looking for. The third thing is no incentive to elevate. Okay, so the first thing was you lead with sex. That's why your relationships are never elevated beyond sex. The second thing was a man doesn't see your value beyond sex once you lead with sex a lot of times. And the third thing is a man doesn't really have an incentive to elevate beyond a sexual relationship with you if that has been the foundation. Especially if you're already doing the cooking, the cleaning, got into the girlfriend mode or doing wife things. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, she's already here and she's already doing all of these things. So really, what is the point of moving this beyond that into a relationship for a marriage? And then, you know, a lot of times men, that's just not on their agenda. Marriage is not on every man's agenda. Just because you're dating doesn't mean everybody is dating for marriage. People are dating for a bunch of different things. That's why you have to date and get to know somebody, to know what page they're on and make sure that they're in alignment with the same page that you're on, so that you can progress in the same direction. Otherwise, you headed east and he headed west, and it's just like, that's just going to be that. So yeah, those are the three things, three reasons why your relationship has never elevated beyond sex. Leading with sex, a man not seeing your value beyond sex. You've heard men say, what else you bring to the table? What else these women bring to the table other than sex? Well, maybe it's time to show them. Take sex off the table and show them what else you have to offer other than sex. And the third thing is no incentive to elevate. I mean, come on now. If a kid knows that, you're going to give him candy before dinner, he don't have no incentive to really eat the dinner now, does he? No, he doesn't. So it's like, hey, you're going to give me what I want anyway. So why I got to do all this? So anyway, ladies, as always, I wish you the best in all your relationship endeavors, whether marriage is a goal of yours or whatever your goals are. I just hope and pray that you reach those levels of excellence in everything that you set out to do, relationally, career-wise, as an individual, as a woman. I just want to see you win, and I want to see you happy, and I want to see you date well so that you can marry well, because we need more strong families, especially more strong Black families that are building foundations and generations of children and people who understand how to cultivate healthy relationships. We won't have enough of that. So I just hope and pray that you become a part of that movement to create change within our community. Okay. And if you haven't done so already, please click subscribe, share this video out, share it with your friends, share it with your family, have a conversation about it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Okay. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to hear more information about dating well to marry well, I definitely highly suggest you go to my website, datewellmarrywell.com, and check out my course, Date Well, Marry Well, full of so much amazing and insightful information on how to date well so that you can marry well. And also check out the journal to accompany that course, Date Well, Marry Well, on Amazon.com. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you all being here. And as always, you gotta date but marry well. Bye.